What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Ross and Goody Beats Q&A. This one, I'm really excited about this one because this was like last minute. Ross just texted me 30 minutes ago, said, yo, let's do a Q&A. I went downstairs, said, all right, what do you want to talk about? Boom, 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 boom. We came up with some topics, and I think with just these 5-6 topics, we could probably talk 2 hours.
Easily.
Okay, I think the way I want to do this is I've been doing a YouTube series on my channel, and I think I'm going to make this as the last episode. Just end it off with the Q&A. And then we'll dive into the next series I'm going to be doing. And we're probably going to be talking about what I'm doing in that next series. So this will be a good kind of bridge to what I'm about to go into. Because this is the final episode. And we're going to be talking about how I'm transitioning to a kind of a different aspect. But at the same time, there are some days that are technically kind of keto.
For you guys listening, welcome back.
And if you guys don't know Ross, please introduce yourself.
I am Ross, Logan's good friend. I coach him too, and own the Gaines Bakery, Flavor Gang, coached by Gaines. I am a professional bodybuilder, so I have a unique and extreme perspective and opinion on these types of things. And just before we get into it, what's great about I'm assuming what you guys are doing right now, what he has done, what he's doing now, and what I'm doing, it's all a journey. There's all levels to this stuff. So whether you're like just learning how to count fats or just taking that first step from eating Whataburger to eating dirty keto, this is a process, it's a journey. And so what my goal here is today and future episodes with Logan is to just give you a different perspective on education and how you can change your life.
Yep, exactly. All right, so let's dive into it. Let's dive into a couple of topics. So I think the first one we'll dive into is, let's dive into blood sugar.
Okay, you start.
And the importance of it. So as you guys know, I do own a company called BioCoach, which we are about to launch our blood glucose meter. We are really going towards helping people reverse type 2 diabetes. The way of doing that is controlling insulin, watching your blood sugar, making sure you're not spiking it every single day, hour after hour, like most Americans do, right? You get up in the morning, you have your cereal, and then it's 10 o'clock, you go to the vending machine or the break room, which every break room I've ever been to is just donuts, pastries, and then it's just constantly this and that. You're just spiking your insulin all day, every day, and then years after years of doing that, it's going to catch up to you, and your body's not going to be able to handle it anymore. And so we're trying to help people manage their diabetes and ultimately reverse their type 2 diabetes, monitoring what they eat and the response of the food that you eat has on your blood sugar. So and
the amount, which is what I'm going to talk about.
Ooh, it's a good one, which no one ever talks about.
They always talk about swapping foods. They don't talk about the quantity.
Yes. And so I want to talk about, okay, so if you're someone who's new to this, you're like, blood glucose, I've never heard of blood glucose. What is that? Blood sugar, what should my number be at? Well, a fasted blood glucose is like 70 to 90 is good. A normal adult blood sugar levels should be 70 to 100, which is normal if you don't have type 2 diabetes. Anything over that, you're spiking insulin and you're in the red, I guess, let's say. What we want to do is teach people how to monitor or maintain their blood sugar levels at a consistent level and keep it there throughout the day. How do you feel about that? Because that's one thing that I think we've had Ross on this channel multiple times, and we've never talked about blood sugar, or we've never asked you about blood sugar.
Yes.
Ross coaches a shitload of clients. I coach a handful. Like I can only handle 5 at a time. Ross is handling, I don't know, dude, what you got
70, I think.
He's got a much bigger roster than me.
Going for 100, that's my goal this year.
And so, one thing that I've never asked you about is, do you ever tell them to watch their blood sugar? And what if you have a client that says, dude, blood sugar, what is that? Glucose, what are you talking about, Ross?
So lots of things here. So first, blood glucose is literally what it sounds like. It is the sugar amount in your blood. So when I take on new clients, it's a mandatory requirement that they get their full panel blood work done, including the blood glucose and A1C. So what that means is when they're fasting and they go to LabCorp, they get their blood pricked, they get their labs back, and they send it to me. Hey Ross, here's my fasted blood work. My glucose level was 93. That's gonna flag an H, meaning high. So I wanna get in around the 68 to 70, 80 range for blood glucose. What that means is we wanna limit the amount of sugars in your blood. Over time, insulin gets excreted from the pancreas, and the blood glucose basically just stores pretty much as fat. So the higher your blood glucose, typically, the more overweight you will be, unless you're type 1 diabetic, or you just had a bulbous amount of carbohydrates. So I always look at the blood glucose. In terms of sort of fixing your blood glucose, the easiest thing you can do is get sleep. When you do not sleep, your cortisol levels get jacked up, your blood sugar gets jacked up, and then what really happens is that when you're sleep deprived, your brain instantly wants that highly palatable processed foods. Mm-hmm. So then you go to the Pop-Tarts and the coffee and the sugar, and then the donuts, and you're just spiking your insulin over time. And when you're so insulin resistant, you're going off on a tangent here, but insulin is a hormone that shuttles nutrients. Yeah. So if your blood glucose is super low, or not super low, but really healthy, and your insulin is at a great level, that hormone allows you to take those carbohydrates that you eat and shuttle them into your muscles. Now, if your insulin levels are jacked up, they're too high, and your blood glucose is too high, it's basically like you're trying to shit on a clogged toilet. The insulin is not moving that glucose through your body, and it's just sitting there, which gets stored as fat. So when I take on new clients, we address sleep, water, activity, remove all sugars. I love fruits in the diet, but anything processed, refined sugars, immediately gotta go. And we'll go into supplements in a little bit. But that's the client application. Now, if you're looking at me, I am a professional bodybuilder. Professional bodybuilding is an extreme sport. So everything I feel, everything I put my body through is an extreme. So I was telling Logan, I had a refeed day. Refeed day in the bodybuilding term or community is when, let's say my average caloric intake was like 3,000 calories and my average carbs were about 250. The refeed day would pull down my proteins and fats and just crank the glucose up to help restore my glycogen. Now, I told him I had about 1,000 carbs yesterday and I lost 5 pounds. And he goes, that doesn't make any sense. If you understand the metabolism and how the energy systems, Logan always talks about metabolic flexibility.
Yes, yeah.
So glucose is great. Glucose is a tool. Glycogen is awesome. Unfortunately, us Americans, we abuse it. Mm-hmm. We fill our entire bodies up with glucose all day and don't use it. That's why carbohydrates get a bad rap. The flip side, if you use your glycogen and you use your glucose, it can be a great way to break through strength plateaus, weight loss plateaus, literally everything. They're healthy, but again, we abuse it.
Yeah, imagine, and I want you guys to think about that, because imagine you're asking yourself, or you're watching this and you're in a plateau, or you know someone that's in a plateau, and you're like, how do I get out of this plateau? The natural thought is, I gotta up the cardio, I gotta decrease the food, I gotta go carnivore.
Gotta go harder.
I gotta go harder.
Yeah, restrict more.
Restrict more. And Ross is saying you do the opposite. Or for him, he's done the opposite.
Yeah.
He upped the carbs and lost 5 pounds.
So I see that with a client of mine. We were stalling pretty hard. I was pounding him with cardio. His food was so low, and his body was not responding. So think of it like you're driving on the highway, and you're just pedal to the metal, but you ain't got no gas left. You're like, why am I not going fast? Well, you have no energy.
Yeah.
So you can fill your gas tank up and keep going. So that's what I did last night, and I lost 5 pounds. I didn't want to lose 5 pounds. So I have this metabolic response. So then I will shuttle more glucose, so hopefully my weight stabilizes. I don't want to lose more weight. Crazy, right? So this client of mine, we did the same thing. I dropped his cardio by 80%, gave him a fuckload of food, so much carbs, and the pictures he sent me the next day was like, what the heck?
He looked bigger?
Bigger, full,
yeah.
Shredded, because his body was so depleted that when we introduced the carbohydrates, the blood sugar obviously rose, the insulin rose, but when the insulin, since he was so insulin sensitive because his carbs were so low, this is where it comes in the keto realm. So when your insulin and your blood sugars are so low and you reintroduce those carbohydrates, now we have a positive metabolic response where we can use those carbs to get through a plateau, to get through, weight loss or fat loss plateau and kick some ass in the gym. That's the good side of this. Mm-hmm. The other side, no one does it. Everyone does it. Rarely does anyone actually use it correctly. Do you want to elaborate?
Because I think for the majority of the people who are watching this, and myself included, guys, and 90% of Americans don't understand nutrition, how the body works.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, no one really understands how the body works. We weren't taught. They don't teach us that in school, unless you go to college for nutrition or take some kind of class or course. All we know is restrict, restrict, restrict. More movement, more movement, more movement.
Can I pause?
Yes.
So I had a lady, I think she follows you actually, messaging me last night, and she's like, I need help, but I'm not ready for a coach. So I ranted about this, and she's like, I'm gonna do it on my own. I'm like, you're gonna do this on your own. You have no idea what you're doing. So she's like, I'm gonna commit to 90 days. And I go, okay, what day? How many days have you done it so far? She goes, 0. So you're gonna commit to 90 days, and you have not even done 1 day. Red flag. Let's just do 3 days. Let's do something for 3 days. She goes, okay, I'm gonna start with 1,500 calories. I go, how big are you? She goes, 281 pounds. So you're starting with 1,500 calories and you're 281 pounds. How are you going to progress? So guys, if you're watching, you guys need to eat food. Whether you're doing carnivore or keto, you have to start at a good caloric range so that way you can slowly progress.
Yeah.
If you're starting here, where are you gonna go? That's what Logan's saying. Logan is saying restrict, 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 restrict. You're gonna restrict yourself to death. You have nothing to play with.
Yeah.
So sorry for the tangent.
No, that's good. That's good. Because when you first told me that an hour ago, I looked at him like he's crazy. How's that possible? And I'm sure a lot of people that hear that. So again, let's kind of circle back to that first topic. Now, because there's so many points that we can take from there. If you're watching this, you're in a plateau. You have been restricting your carbs, just dropping your calories, and you just can't lose any more weight. Your gym sessions are sucking. You can't get that pump. Well, maybe why don't you try reintroducing some glucose into your diet, into your body, a good amount. What's a good amount? What do you think? Because no one's gonna do a fucking 1,000 carbs like you're doing.
No. I would say like average 30 to 40 grams of carbohydrates per meal, 5 to 6 times a day.
Okay.
So like 200, 300 grams of carbs.
Okay, 200, 300 grams of carbs.
And carbs meaning carbohydrates, not French fries, not donuts. Yes. Those are not carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are fruits, potatoes, rice, things like that.
Yeah.
Keto people.
And remember, refeed days are not cheat days.
They're not.
So don't when he's saying you got a refeed day, that is not a cheat day. Because he also said, if you guys remember, he said that means we dropped our fats and our proteins down, and we just upped the carbs. Not everything got ramped up.
Typically, the calories would honestly stay the same. You're just energy systems.
Okay, that makes
So if I'm eating 3,000 calories a day, my energy system would switch.
Yeah, you didn't say that. Or maybe you did, but that's a good point. They need to hear that. Yeah, they need to hear that.
I didn't directly say
you didn't. Because when I think of refeed day, like most people, everything's up. Cows are up are dramatically. I'm eating 500 plus more calories because it's a refeed day.
So you can do that, but typically I would not. Typically I would just reintroduce a different energy.
Drop other macronutrients. Like, well, the other.
So like if Logan's doing a high fat diet and he's eating 1,500 calories from fat, I would swap. That's probably a lot. If he's eating 1,000 calories from fat a day, I'd swap those 1,000 calories for 1,000 calories of carbs.
Yeah.
And then his body would just go explode.
Yeah.
Because he's got his fat in his body already, which would hold on to the carbohydrates.
Let's talk about pros and cons of insulin, since we're kind of sticking to this blood sugar realm.
So I'll go anecdotal first. So when I'm in my off season and I'm eating 150 grams of carbs per meal, my brain is almost, you may want to bleep this out. Okay, I have so much glucose in my bloodstream that I physically cannot think. I get so lazy, so lethargic, my brain does not function. And that's what all the Americans are living with every day.
Yeah.
And they have to pound caffeine to get awake. The flip side, when I'm dieting and extreme dieting, my carbs are, they're lower. I still eat a lot of carbohydrates, but calorie intake is lower, carbs are lower, my brain functions so much better. And that's one of the reasons why people love the keto diet, because your brain functions optimally. Now, like for me, my first meals of the day are super high in carbs. And I'm like a zombie after it. I'm like, oh my God. Because my insulin is so sensitive, my blood sugar is so low, that carbohydrate hits my blood and I just get this huge release of glucose.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, like Thanksgiving. That's what it feels
like.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling to describe. Yeah.
Yeah.
After Thanksgiving, or how they always say, like, after you eat Chinese buffet, you just want to go to sleep. You just want to. And I remember that back in the day. Okay, so I want to talk about a pro of keeping your insulin lower. I want to get your opinion, so stop me if you want to chime in. Keeping your insulin low make your body burn body fat. And if you keep your insulin low enough, your body will start to, it'll burn up through all your glycogen storage, right? You burn up through all your glycogen storage. You keep your insulin low, you're eating low carb, you're doing the ketogenic diet, your body starts to produce ketones. I made a video about this yesterday, and I kind of want to get your opinion on it. One of the keys to weight loss is managing your insulin levels. Keep them high, you are using glucose, you're a sugar burner, and you're kind of just always in that realm. Keeping your insulin low, and for a long period of time, doing intermittent fasting for a long period of time, doing a ketogenic diet, you will put yourself in a fat burning mode, producing ketones as energy, which I think is a pro. But I kind of want to get your opinion on that. Do you believe that? Do you believe that controlling your insulin is a major factor to weight loss? I also know that you're a huge proponent of calories in, calories out.
Yeah. So technically. So I have about 4 to 5, I think it's 4 type 1 diabetics.
Type 1?
Type 1 diabetics.
Wow.
So their insulin levels, we monitor their blood sugars every day, and they have the implants.
And they have to, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not a choice. It's not like type 2.
Right, so they have the implant, and I get reports from them weekly. And their blood glucose levels can be in the 120s to 180s. Now, having a high blood glucose level and high insulin level in my opinion, is not directly related to fat loss or weight loss. What it relates to is the ability to shuttle nutrients. So if we are more, if we have the ability to shuttle nutrients and break down and metabolize nutrients better, more optimally, then in theory we'll be able to lose fat and lose weight. Well, if we look at my type 1 diabetics, all of them are super lean, but they have crazy high insulin and crazy high blood glucose levels. Mm-hmm. So, so I don't think that they necessarily go hand in hand. Typically, if your blood glucose levels are high, A1C levels are high, insulin levels are high, you are probably going to be overweight. Yeah. Because you're not able to utilize those nutrients. Now, let's say if I took me and I'm 270 pounds in the off season, I always monitor my blood glucose, but it's higher in the off season because I'm eating so much glucose, and I'm fatter. So if I were to just lose weight, reintroduce cardio, cut the carbs, all those levels would be lower. Yep. But I don't think they're necessarily related. Like if your insulin or blood glucose levels are 100, you're going to be fat. Because sometimes you just don't have the ability to process the blood glucose levels could be depending on a bunch of different things.
Yeah, your
genes, hormones, sleep, stuff like that.
Okay, good. So there you go.
A general rule of thumb: keep it lower, and you're probably going to be in better shape.
Yes. Okay.
Just like sleep.
Kind of just oversimplifying it. Is pretty much what I was doing. But okay, good. Okay, let's talk about this now. This I don't know. Actually, I don't know anything about, but this was one of the topics that got brought up was blood sugar supplements. Yes.
So there's a bunch you can take. Berberine.
Why? What is berberine gonna do?
I have no clue. They're just all plant extracts. Okay. I know they just help regulate blood glucose. But you can message me on Instagram or email me at hi@coachedbygains. I won't go into. There's about 10 different ones you can take. One of them that's really good are something called GDAs, which is glucose disposal agents. All that means is you take a pill and it helps shuttle the nutrients more. So it allows your blood sugar levels or blood glucose levels to drop lower with carb meals. So like if I were to eat 100 grams of carbs without a GDA, it could take 90 minutes before those blood glucose levels drop. If I introduce a GDA, I could take 30 minutes, which helps decrease the insulin.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about apple cider vinegar? I've seen people talk about how apple cider vinegar having that in the mornings or after a meal, or some pickle juice,
fiber.
Fiber. Yes.
Fiber, fish oil, citrus, bergamot, berberine, GDAs, cinnamon. There's so many you can. Coffee even helps stabilize blood sugars. Yeah. Cinnamon, coffee extract, green tea extract. Lots of things you can take to help supplement your blood glucose regulation. But like we started the video, if you're not drinking water, if your electrolytes are all messed up, you're not sleeping, your hormones are all messed up, none of that's going to matter. So Logan and I have talked about setting people up with a game plan. You got to get your sleep. Sleep, wake up, get hydrated. 30-minute walk in the morning. Fasted cardio is great for blood sugar control. Walking after each meal.
After each meal, which is what I started doing with the family. After dinner, when I get home, have dinner with them, we all get up and we just walk around our neighborhood. We just go for a walk. And we love it. The girls love it because
you get outside.
Yeah, get outside and it helps myself as well digest that food. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is high days and low days. Since we're talking about my meal plan, because this is going to be really good. Kind of transitioning into the next series. What is a high day and what is a low day? For those of you who are just watching and you've never heard those terms, So low days essentially means that it's a low calorie day or lower calorie day. High days, you guessed it, higher calories. But we took it a step further. Those low days are like no carbs at all. Essentially maybe 20, 30 grams at the most. The protein's high, the protein's pretty high, but the fats are pretty low too. I think it's 40 to 50. I think I get 10 grams per meal, out of the 5 meals.
Direct source.
Yeah, and one of the meals calls for no fat. And then the high days, I'm eating a crap load of carbs. At least in my opinion, I'm eating a crap load of carbs. And those are fun days. Those have been some fun days. So for those of you wondering why, Ross, what is the purpose of that?
So let me preface this by saying there are no rules in dieting. There are principles, but there are no rules. Like, for example, with the refeeds I had today, there's no rules. Like, I didn't know I was going to wake up 5 pounds lighter.
Yeah. That's
how my body responds. So one thing that we always take for granted is we don't respect our bodies. This is an entire ecosystem. So when you put something in, you can make educated guesses on what's going to happen, but you have to know how to respond and how to adjust. So I took a look at Logan's physique, and basically what I wanted to do with him was I wanted to give him the ability to have those training sessions on those training days, on the select training days, higher amounts of calories so that they could propel his workouts and recovery. The flip side, sort of to counteract the increased amount of calories, because I don't want him to gain weight, just drop the calories down on those other days to sort of counterbalance what I'm doing with him on those high days.
Yep.
And in effect, it allows the glucose on those high days to do its job. If I were to give him all high days, it would be counterproductive because his glucose and his insulin is just spiking all the time, which is sort of what we just talked about in the start of the video. So it allows having those cyclic days where the calories are higher and lower. It allows your body to use the glucose as a tool, as opposed to just shuttling the body with glucose.
Yeah, and I get a lot of questions, and I still to this day, we've done so many videos we've done together, and we've always talked about this topic. Like, it always comes up, and still to this day, still get messages. Hey man, I'm thinking about doing keto, or I'm doing keto, but man, I can't build any muscle. I can't get stronger. I can't get that pump. I can't do this. And I've said this many times. Maybe you need to do a TKD type style of training, or implement some type of carbs before or after.
I still think when people do keto diets, they undereat.
They're undereat, yeah, and that's I wanted to get there, yeah. That's another thing, but it's hard to tell people that, right? I mean,
no, not me.
Yeah, it's. I've always struggled with telling somebody like you're under eating.
It's hard. It's I guess not hard, but it's.
Because you hear it like, oh no, dude, I'm eating so much protein, bro.
50,000 calories. Especially
I'm eating 5,000 calories a day, bro. I'm just my metabolism's skyrocket, bro.
I'm a hard gainer.
I'm a hard gainer, yes.
Especially when you're telling someone that's already overweight, that they're under eating.
Yeah.
Like that woman I told, she's 281 pounds, eating 1,500 calories. That's under eating. Her body is 281 pounds. Living, so she needs to increase the calories to maintain that caloric demand, and then you slowly take it away. So a lot of people just start at nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, why am I not getting a pump in the gym? You're not eating any food. So like when I tell new clients, and the women are the worst, they're overweight because they overeat. Yet I give them a whole bunch of food, and they're like, they're like crying. I'm like, you should be in heaven. You're eating all this food. You love food, obviously. You're overweight.
Someone says, hey, I want to do keto, but I can't build muscle. I can't get stronger. You think you're under eating.
Oh yeah. Oh, under eating, under drinking, under salting. I gave Logan a whole bunch of shit. He always talks about salting. He never measures it.
I don't measure it, but I think I eat a lot of salt. I mean, I put a crap load of salt on my... Look, okay, I'll tell you this. This is funny. Now that I am measuring my salt now. Through my meal plans, I have homework. You got to send the meals and you got to show them. I truly think I was putting at least probably more salt than that.
Then we can up it.
I'm dead serious, man. Like...
Well, you would never know.
I don't, but you're right. I don't know. But I like, though, when I'm done with my food, like, I'm like, man, I'm halfway through my 4, I need more. And I'm used to having more, is kind of like before I started measuring. Because I'll pour salt on my food and eat it, and I'll throw more if this side doesn't have it. But, yeah, now that I started measuring, I know I'm at a comfortable spot where I'm like, dude, I know I was putting more salt in this. I know I was. I know he says I didn't, but I know I was, because at this point, I would be putting more salt. Well,
that's good. I like a lot of salt. I do half a teaspoon.
Yo, and shout out to Redmond's Real Salt. Like, that's, hey, look, I'm not saying you have to get it, but once you go with Redmond's Real Salt, you'll never try any other.
I just got the Relight.
I saw that. You better use my code.
I bought it on Amazon.
Yeah, all right, so we knocked out food selection, high and low days, the purpose of it, which is really, it's really not confusing at all. Just give you high days to take advantage of your workouts, and then low days to counterbalance that, so you don't get fat, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to lose weight.
So then how we progress there is I'll lower his high days, keep his low days the same, and just slowly taper down those high days until he's almost low again. And then give him a refeed.
Yep.
So that's how I would do it.
Yeah, and there's not, I mean, I've only been doing this 3 weeks with him. We've been back at it. And I've yet to feel like, oh man, I'm super hungry. Or, oh damn, there's not enough food. Now the cardio is going up. Now that's another story. Actually, let's talk about cardio. Let's end it with cardio. How important is cardio to losing weight?
Not that important. The reason why people have to do cardio is because they sit on their ass all day. So if you just get a step counter and you walk 10,000 steps a day for 3 weeks, and let's say you don't lose any weight and you haven't changed anything, go for 12,000 steps. Cool, you lost 2 pounds. Do that again, 13,000 steps. All you have to do is increase your caloric output. So you don't have to do cardio. Cardio is amazing for your brain, your emotional health, your gut health, insulin, your heart, all types of things.
You make and you have your clients do a lot of cardio, right?
No, I do have them do a lot of activity.
Well, and then that's another thing. What is a lot of cardio? I mean, I'm doing 60 minutes. Would you consider that a lot?
No.
I would consider that a lot. And I think a lot of people watching say 60 minutes of cardio a day is a lot.
I would say more people spend 3 hours a day watching Netflix than 60 minutes of cardio.
See, this is always good to do these because I think I look at it as a more practical side. You look at it
30
as
minutes a
your
day,
side of it.
30 minutes a day in the morning and 30 minutes at night is nothing.
Okay, and this is going to be a good talking point. Comment down below. Be completely honest with yourself. We're not going to call anybody out. Do you think 60 minutes of cardio a day is a lot?
Okay. How many hours do you sit in a commute?
And then, yeah.
And how many hours do you sit at your job? Typically, our commute, 8 hours sitting, you're talking about 12 hours sitting, you've done nothing with your life. Okay, nothing. You've been slugging it.
You've gone to work and you are contributing to society.
You're sitting on your butt.
We're talking expending energy wise.
So I would say 30 minutes a day, 150 minutes a week is a great starting point.
150 minutes a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's 5 days a week, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Start there, and then just for your heart health,
And cardio could just be, again, what did you just say? Just walking. That isn't,
No.
We're not saying go to the gym, treadmill, go get yourself a Stairmaster.
No, don't listen to him.
What?
Don't listen to him. Walking is not for your heart. Walking is steps. So when you go to the stairs, your heart rate's up.
Yes.
When you go walking with your daughter, you're not feeling that way.
No,
right?
no.
So there's walking.
Okay.
Then there's cardio.
Ah, okay. So 30 minutes a day walking is what you said first, right? Do that first.
Yeah.
That you don't even consider that cardio.
No, that's steps.
Okay.
That's activity.
Okay.
So walk in the morning, like I did walking today, 40 minutes. That wasn't cardio. That was just walking.
Okay.
Put my ass on the Stairmaster.
Yeah.
That's my heart working. If I'm doing this, walking, I'm in very bad shape.
Okay, do you have a preference of where you like to keep your heart rate when you're on the Stairmaster? Do you have a set? I do. I have 120 to 140.
Yeah, that's a good start. Now, if you're doing that, if you're getting that response walking, then that's a great starting point because now you can monitor that.
Yeah.
Now that is cardio for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But if you get to the point where you're doing that every day and it's just becoming just like living, that's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So that's why I like the step counter, because those 30 minutes of walking, you just knocked out 5,000 steps. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you didn't raise your heart rate. So you need to raise your heart rate if you want the benefits of cardio. You do not need to do cardio to lose weight.
We're confusing them.
We are confusing. There's activity.
Yeah.
There's cardio. I can stand and pack boxes all day. Activity.
Yeah.
Stairmaster. Cardio.
Yes. At the end of the day, get moving.
Yes.
Get moving. Get off
At the
your
end
ass.
of the day, raise your activity.
Yeah.
So get a step counter. Start with 5,000 steps.
Yeah.
If that's too easy, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. That's what I would do.
All right. You heard it first, guys. All right. So this is gonna close out the 6-part series, guys. Back to Keto Basics. I think this was a cool way to end it with a long Q&A. People love when Ross and I do these Q&As because you get two totally different perspectives. I look at Ross as like he's the extreme. I would say I'm more practical. I got kids. I got a family. No excuses, but we're still trying to be in great shape. I'm not a pro yet. Working.
If we agreed on everything, it would be boring.
Yeah, I would. Hell yeah, I would. So this is good, guys. If you have any questions down below, let me know. Ross does a really good job in going back to the videos, and he likes to chat with you guys and answer questions. If you haven't checked out Ross, check him out on Instagram at Ross Flanigan.
Ross Flanigan _gains.
_gains. And then, guys, you guys always see me use his sauces. He didn't even say, you didn't even throw out the mentions for the sauces.
Flavor Gang.
Flavor Gang sauces. Yes, you can have the sauces if you're dieting, if you're getting ready for a show, or if you just like great tasting food. Go check them out. So that's going to be it, guys. We'll see you on the next series for episode 1. This should be pretty exciting. Peace.